Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about yet another example of why I do not like leaving the house. Now, full disclosure, I'm slightly frazzled. Not that anyone cares, but just in terms of the quality of this video. A couple days ago, found out that I got into a PhD program. This morning, I randomly found out that I got a scholarship, basically a fellowship, and I am in shock. So the way my brain is processing today is completely off. Moving on, this clip went viral, and like most viral clips, they scare the shit out of me because when you see one thing go viral, as we well know, we have all the people who want their 15 minutes or 15 seconds do the same thing more extremely, and things get dangerous. Really, what happens when I see viral clips is I just remember the whole era of Jake Paul being annoying to his neighbors and everyone else, and just how annoying all of that was, let alone dangerous. So anyway, Target employee called racist for calling cops on quote-unquote flash mob that tried to film dance video in store. So I'm gonna show you the video, but before I do, I really do want to say that I think that the articles written about this have all been very generous to call this a flash mob, because truly, as a person who cannot dance to save their lives, this is not a flash mob. If you've actually seen a flash mob, this is just, you'll see. This was closer to looking like The Walking Dead, which I get is kind of the point.
Becoming a safety hazard?
Hey, if we all just start and multiple people record, they can't block it. Right. We can sing it too. It's a graveyard. Can you move your feet? Don't worry about it. The city is a graveyard. I'm haunted by your love. I'm in another world. Hey, get up with the another girl. Yeah. Everyone is a ghost. If you get hit, you'll fall over there.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. I felt really uncomfortable watching this in the cringe type of way, and honestly, the majority of the time, if I see some people having fun and it's not impeding on anyone else's life, like flash mobs in parks or in big squares where you're not in everyone's way, even if someone's dancing badly, I might think it's cringe and embarrassing, but at least they're free, like the meme says. When I see it in public places like this, I really just lose any sense of creative understanding, creative empathy. Do we want to coin that? I'm sorry, no matter how well you're dancing, if I'm going to fucking Target and you're in my way when I'm trying to get out, we're having problems. That's all it is. A wannabe pop star is receiving backlash online after she labeled a Target employee as a racist for calling the police on her quote-unquote flash mob that showed up uninvited to a store and began filming a dance video. Baby Storm or Stormy, I honestly don't know, and I'm not that invested. I looked a little bit and couldn't really find a consensus. An internet personality who released a song titled "The City is a Graveyard" posted videos on YouTube and X titled "Racist Target Employee Calls the Police on Us for Dancing." In the video, Baby Storm, who lists Los Angeles as her hometown on social media, and about a dozen other people dressed in goth-inspired costumes begin a slow dance as they walk through an aisle at a Target whose exact location could not be determined. As a large group of mostly women dance to the song, a store employee is seen blocking the camera view in an apparent attempt to stop the spectacle. The video then cuts to a store employee telling the group that they were posing a safety hazard, prompting cries of protest from the dancers. The participants then resume their song and dance through the aisle while a security agent in a yellow jacket follows along with his back turned toward the camera. At one point they form a large circle and hold hands while Baby Storm struts through the middle. Towards the end of the clip, the large group is seen leaving the store. So I'm going to read the description of the YouTube video by Baby Storm. Let's just pause for a second because really it's kind of crazy to me because I feel like we see two sides of humanity on a daily basis, right? So we see the one side that is angry about everything all the time, which I'm sure plenty of people might say, Julia, you're part of that group, and fair enough. But there's also this other side that I see that is, I don't want to say empathetic to a fault, but it's just like, in the comment section, undeniably, most people thought that this was dumb, this was a safety hazard, and a whole slew of other things. But there were a few people who were like, what's the big deal? There aren't that many people, blah, blah, blah. And per usual, I think we just need to consider even just the sole fact of setting a precedent. Do we really want to be telling people that they should be dancing at Target with 80 people? At the checkout, in front of the exits, down the aisles? Is that really a type of behavior we want to be reinforcing? Because in my books, definitely not. First of all, if we're really going to talk about this, there are plenty of people who work at Target. I don't know how Target is in other states. Certain states I'm aware of vastly underpay the people who work there. So you already have underpaid workers doing God knows how many hours of work, and then you're going to come in and impede them from doing their job or make their jobs harder, which is like, what? Why on earth would you do that when you could just go to a fucking park, first of all? Second of all, it is a safety hazard. There's a reason that they tell you not to do these things, not just because it's annoying, not necessarily because big corporations care about their employees, because let's be real, but because actually there's a reason that exits need to be clear. There's a reason that people don't park their cars right in front of an exit. There's a reason that the carts are off to the side and not in front of an exit, because if there is an emergency, if you do need to get out, those areas are supposed to be clear. Now, obviously, even if they were in an aisle, the same thing pertains. You're not supposed to be in the fucking way. Also, because the reality is, if someone is going to Target, unless you're going there for fun, which is valid, but even then, a lot of people are going in and out. A lot of people have lives. A lot of people can't pause at self-checkout or at the checkout to see you do whatever you call those movements for the kicks for you, just because you have the time. Not everyone has the time, and truly, that's just not the place to do it. And again, this returns to the fact of wanting to be viral, because realistically, I think even someone with, I don't know, a seventh of a brain cell would figure out that first of all, Target would not be enthused about this, and the general population also inside of Target, as much as they might be creatives, as much as you want to maybe encounter, I don't know, theater kids who you think are going to be on your side, the majority of people did not sign up for that. As for the claims of racism, I'm not going to say that race has nothing to do with it. That's something you guys can decide. From my personal perspective, this could have been a group of all white kids, whomever, whatever gender, whatever age. It would still not be okay because the safety hazard is the hazard. At the end of the day, this is gonna sound a little bit creepy to say out loud, but it's the bodies that matter, right? Because if you have 80 people who are in the way of exits, who are in the way generally, that's the 80 people that are the problem. Whether the 80 people are whatever gender, whatever orientation, whatever race is completely irrelevant. So, I mean, to scream racism, I also think is spitting in the face of when there's actual racism happening. To call this racism when you're clearly causing an inconvenience for everyone is not just stupid, but actually that insulting, because I'm pretty sure that anyone, even within maybe that dance group who has experienced racism, knows that racism isn't someone at Target telling you to not dance or they're gonna call the cops. Also, sorry if I'm gonna have to be that person, but the victim complex here is big, because listen, what you're doing is incredibly, in its own way, privileged. If we really want to have that discussion, if we really want to go down that route, it is incredibly privileged that you and your group of friends or whomever, whatever, have time to come up with this choreography, have time to go to Target, have time to dress up and do this thing for the kicks and hire someone to film, a videographer, whatever, and impede on people's lives. If you want to talk about privilege and shit like that, what you're doing, getting in the way of people who are just trying to do their job, getting in the way of people who are trying to make ends meet, getting in the way of people who just need to do their groceries and get back to their responsibilities. If we want to really talk about privilege, we're there. And again, this is not the privilege Olympics. This is not the pain Olympics. You know, if you're going to call something racism, that is a conversation that should be had. And unfortunately, I don't think this dance group, or whatever you want to call them, is gonna like the answers they get. So in the description of Baby Storm's YouTube video, it says, "I was so excited for us to film a quick flash mob at Target, but before we even walked through the door, this employee called the police on us for being on the property. At first he said we couldn't film, but when we stopped filming, he still continued to kick us out, saying we were a safety violation and that the police were on their way. So we made the most of what we could. I couldn't even remember the dance I came up with. This moment for me was the one I cannot describe. I tried to keep it together. All I could focus on was the beautiful brown faces I was able to bring together. They were able to stand in solidarity today. This is everything I stand for." And I think the main thing that all of us are wondering is, why could you not assemble this group anywhere else? Because realistically, if this weren't a publicity stunt, if this weren't to get your 15 minutes, you could have done this anywhere else. Also, by the way, avoiding endangering your own peers, because let's be real, if there were racist police officers who showed up, if there were even just shitty police officers who showed up and had to take away any of your friends for whatever reason, if any of your friends resisted for whatever reason, that could have very well escalated into a dangerous situation. So really, by doing all of this, you think you're making a statement, but really the statement is that this is not a choreography, first of all, truly not. But the other thing is that you feel safe enough to do that, where it's like, this is risky for anyone. Anyone pulling shit like this, you come across the wrong police officer, you react the wrong way once, you resist slightly, that really does become a scary situation. And that's not to be depressing or alarmist, but it's just true. It's like being pulled over. You can speed down a road and hope that you don't get pulled over. But if you do get pulled over, you better hope that you meet a cop that isn't annoying, that isn't racist, that isn't homophobic, that isn't anything, because otherwise you put yourself in a situation that now you can't get out of, and you're gonna face the consequences over a decision you could have easily not made. So here it quotes a couple of the reactions from social media saying, "Girl, I like your music, but as someone who also works in retail, if you're showing up during the final minutes of closing time, we have to quickly get people out of the store so we can get everything in order within those final minutes," wrote a commenter on YouTube. "Also, I don't know much about flash mobs, but I did take a minor course in audio and film, and you do need permission forms to be able to film because you're on their property," the commenter added. "I wouldn't call this racist because they're only trying to do their jobs." Another commenter wrote, "It's not racist to call the police on you for getting in people's way in a damn store. So obvious you want publicity from this." Someone said, "It's not cool to invade workplaces and make employees' lives harder than they need to be." Now, I haven't checked Target's policies. I might, and if I find anything, I'll put it on the screen. But the reality is that the majority of stores have this exact same policy. The majority of properties, even restaurants, I'm sure, have similar policies. So this whole thing from beginning to end was misguided, to say the least, because this is all so expected and so predictable. And granted, if this is a publicity stunt, I'm giving this person publicity, sure, I don't think this is the type of publicity you want, because realistically, no one's gonna give a shit about your music after seeing this. You know what I mean? People might think it's a good song, but I don't really know how many people are gonna watch your video, see you get kicked out of Target, and then be like, you know what, let me listen to this person's music. At least that's not how it is for me. And it's kind of sad because I thought the song was not bad, but it's just like, this is overshadowed now. So I don't even think it works in the sense of a publicity stunt that will further your career. Anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.